We're back to the Neil Haley Show. My guest today is Tyler Fulghum of ESPN's Bet Line. Tyler, thanks for stopping by. And oh my gosh, Super Bowl's here. And I already think it's fixed because I'm a former professional wrestler. So I think that I'm already I would put all my money, if somebody would give me $1 million or something to bet, I'm going to bet definitely on the Chiefs on Sunday.
Yeah, I think that's a common sentiment for various reasons. Some make sense, some are a little out there, but I too think the Chiefs are going to win, not because I believe in any conspiracy theory, but I believe Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback that maybe has ever played the game, and he has a tremendous defense behind him. And the quarterback on the other side, as great as he has been, is someone who doesn't have experience in this type of setting. So I would be betting on the Chiefs to win. I'm going to bet on the Chiefs to win. I think they kind of build a lead early, and then with the strength of that defense, they hold off a late surge by the 49ers and win the game. But I'm with you, and I think a lot of people who are looking at Patrick Mahomes as the reason why the Chiefs are going to come out victorious in Super Bowl 58.
Oh yeah, and you got to look at history of Super Bowls. It's always the more experienced team that ends up winning a lot of times, and it's the team that's hot at the end, right? We
Yeah.
don't always see a team that wins, gets home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and then goes and wins the Super Bowl. It only happens a few times. A lot of lately, because of the wild card and different types of settings, it's the team that goes on catches on fire that wins the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, that's a great observation, and it's absolutely true. What we have seen from recent playoffs, that bye is so beneficial, but it can ruin the rhythm and momentum that your team is building. That you want to crescendo in February in the Super Bowl. And the Chiefs, they didn't have a bye. They played in the wild card round. Then they went on the road to Buffalo and won that game. Then they went on the road to Baltimore and won that game. So they're as confident as they've been all season long. And why wouldn't they be again with Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback and that defense playing well? So I think, again, that is a situational edge that's not accounted for with the algorithms and the numbers that go into betting. But a great point that the Chiefs are, I think, playing better football down to down right now, which we've seen the last few weeks, and even the 49ers. And it's been a great season for the 49ers. They are an objectively great team. I wouldn't be shocked if they win because they do have a lot of talent. But right now, my eyes tell me that the Chiefs are playing better football, and I think we'll win the game.
Let's kind of talk about specifically what is the bet line right now for the game.
Yeah, it's different depending on where you're looking, but ESPN Bet specifically has the spread set at 1.5. So the Niners are favored by 1.5. The Chiefs are a 1.5 point underdog. If you want to turn to the money line, the Niners are minus 120 on the money line. The Chiefs are even money on the money line. So again, it's basically a coin flip game, though if we simulated this game out 1,000 times, which is what the sports books do when they make these lines, they say like 52% of the time the Niners win the game. So that's how you're getting that very close line of 1.5.
And so that's a pretty good win for somebody, right? If they go in and lay some money on on the Chiefs this weekend.
Yeah, the Chiefs, if you bet, since they are even money, what that means is whatever you bet, and if you win the bet, you get that back in return. So if I bet $100 on the Chiefs at even money, I get my $100 investment back, plus the book has to pay me $100 at even money. Now, the Niners, you're not going to make as much. Again, because they're favored to win. You have to bet $120 to win 100 back in return. So again, the reason that is look at it as a tax. Look at it as a tax for buying the team that is quote unquote better on paper. When you buy the underdog, you get a better return on investment because they're the quote unquote worst team, less likely to win on paper. And again, Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs, as the quote unquote inferior team, the less likely to win, I will gladly take that bet as opposed to betting on the favorite, the 49ers.
All right, fun bets, because there's so many bets in the Super Bowl. And I know that you are talking about them throughout this week, and there's just you can bet on everything, right?
Yeah, yeah. Certainly, if you can think of something, you can probably bet on it in the Super Bowl, like what color the Gatorade will be that's poured on the winning coach's head. How long the national anthem is over under the number of minutes and seconds from start to finish. You can bet on the coin toss. Will it be heads? Will it be tails? I mean, it is wild. If you can't do it in America, unfortunately, Neil, you got to go north of the border to Canada or have offshore book accounts. But you can bet on the color of jacket that Taylor Swift wears when she shows up at the game. You can bet on the number of times she is mentioned on the broadcast by Tony Romo and Jim Nance. So rest assured, there is a zillion things that you can bet on in the Super Bowl. It's absolutely wild. $23.1 billion expected to be wagered, according to Forbes magazine, which just says how big this event is and how much money is going to be changing hands.
So what are you hearing on the line that people are picking the 49ers, even though they're favorite, right? How do
Right.
you are you've been hearing like in the press conferences and stuff that the 49ers seem confident they can win today? They can win the Super Bowl?
Well, mostly the people who are betting on the 49ers are the quote unquote sharp bettors, the people who are really, really good at betting. And the way that they bet is strictly through numbers and algorithms and simulations and projections. It's like playing the stock market. You take all emotion out of it and you just look at what the numbers tell you. And based on the data accrued from 20 weeks of playing football this season, most sharp bettors' algorithms tell them that the better team is the 49ers. Now, they're not always right, okay? They're good, but they're not always right. Sometimes they get it wrong. And I think this is an instance, and the public is going to largely side with me here. They're going to say, wait a second, the Niners may be the better overall team, but it's a quarterback driven league. And the guy who has two Super Bowls already and has Super Bowl MVPs and has done this before is Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to bet on him. I'm not going to bet against that guy. So I think a lot of the public, a lot of the average bettors are going to bet on Mahomes, and I'm going to be one of those guys. But you're going to see a lot of the sharp bettors betting on the Niners strictly based on numbers, and we'll see who wins or loses. Again, I wouldn't be shocked if the Niners win this game. They are legit very, very good. They have talent up and down the roster, but I find it hard to imagine that Patrick Mahomes, with a great defense, somehow comes out of this game a loser. I think something
Right.
crazy would really have to happen for the Chiefs to lose this game.
So here's my point I'm gonna go with is there matchups that favor the 49ers in this game?
Yeah, there is matchups that favor the 49ers, and that's Christian McCaffrey and Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey are two players that are so good. It doesn't matter how good your defense is, they can beat you. You can throw a short pass to Debo Samuel and he can turn it from a 1 yard gain into a 40 yard gain. And CMC is the best running back in the game. If you're shutting him down running the football, he can be used in the screen game. He can catch the ball in the backfield and kill you there. So I think that's the advantage that Kyle Shanahan's going to try and lean on. He's going to force the football into the hand of his two best playmakers, that's Christian McCaffrey and Debo Samuel. And if those guys play their best game, as great as Kansas City's defense is, they're too hard to stop. That's the secret or the recipe for the Niners winning this game. Huge production from Debo and CMC.
I'm gonna go with the 49ers, and I mean, I'm gonna go with the
Okay.
Chiefs. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. There's no way I'm gonna go with the 49ers because of the history of Super Bowl. We've really never seen a team that doesn't have the experience in the Super Bowl win. I don't know out of how many 58 Super Bowls have you seen a team with less experience win the Super Bowl? When would you say that?
Yeah, it's some of the most famous upsets. Think about when Tom Brady's undefeated Patriots lost to Eli Manning and the Giants. That was a team that had a lot of Super Bowl success already
Sure.
in New England, and they lost to a team that hadn't done it. But you're right. It's the exception to the rule. Nobody expected the Giants to win that game,
Yeah,
and it was one of the greatest upsets in all of sports history that they pulled that off. So it can happen. And again, the Niners, pardon me, are a legitimately great team. If they win, no one should be shocked. As someone who's betting on the Chiefs, I'll tip my cap to the Niners for earning that. But
all
guess
right.
who I'm going to put my money on? It's the team that has that experience.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate it. All
No
right.
problem, Neil.
You're listening, watching the Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.